Hello everybody, Hito here and welcome back to another Infinity Nikki video. In this video, I want to do a prediction for myself and maybe also for you guys about what is to come until the next big version, which is going to be 2.0, because we kind of lost a lot of things to look for, which sounds kind of sad, but it's actually pretty good. But it also at the same time means that we don't really know what to expect now. So I'm trying to make my own prediction. Feel free to predict with me in the comments because I'm really curious about what you guys think. And let's jump into the video. Now, first of all, let's recap at what did we even have, because I just mentioned that we now don't have as much to look forward to. Version 1.4 crossed 3 major things off of the list that a lot of players were looking forward to. The first one was probably the most commonly sought after, and that was co-op mode. Co-op mode has been talked about pretty much since the release of the game, maybe even since the beta. I have seen a few discussions about it even back then. So this feature was definitely up there and now we finally have it. Aside that, another feature that people have been requesting more and more as the game went on was a dying feature. It has existed in past Nikki games, and also we are playing a dress-up game, so mix and matching is only fun for so long until you can actually fully customize the pieces, and now we have that feature as well. The last one has come into discussion more towards the time of 1.5, as more people were expecting an update where this outfit came into play, and that is the Sea of Stars outfit. The outfit in this game plays an important role as a miracle outfit, and in other games it has simply become a big staple for the overall franchise, so people are very happy that it's here as well. Now, that already crossed 3 things off the list, and as far as I know, there were 5 things total that were pretty big and very much sought after. 3 of them I just named, and the other 2 being housing, which has probably been the biggest one on the list overall, and the exploration of other regions, which I will get into in a bit. First of all, let's look at some overall statistics, because every patch has a certain length. No patch has been like the others, they have all varied in their length, but if you combine all the numbers together and then divide them by 6, because math, then we have an overall patch length of 30 days, 29 if you don't count this month's extension, but it's still pretty much the same number. That means that one patch is essentially a month long, which makes it perfect for what we also know, which is the fact that we have been told before that every 6 months / 6 patches we will get big updates, aka region updates, to the game. Now, I've seen mixed opinions about 1.5, that it hasn't really been that big, and I guess you could agree to disagree. Yes, the region update wasn't huge at all, but I feel like the impact that this update had on the game overall was pretty big. I also have to say that because we start in a region of a region, it is a lot harder to actually give us a map extension without spoiling a big update, because we will probably be ending at version 2.0 as the next 6th patch, which will be big. We could of course alternate it to patch 1.11, but I feel like we are stretching it quite far with that number, so I would rather see a 2.0 and a big next region update, because the number is first of all a big change at the front number, and also in a lot of other gacha does resemble that you get the big update, like the big update, and then small quote-unquote big updates throughout that version update, which then goes to 2.1, 2.2, yada yada, and then 2.5, which will be our next 6-month patch, and that one probably will add more to that new big region that we got in 2.0. Now, the big question may be, where do we go next? There aren't exactly a lot of hints to go off of, but we do have a few. The first one is the region trailer that we do get to see in the game. That one does have a very rationable order, and I will explain why after I name the order. First of all is the Heartcraft Kingdom. In case you didn't know, this is where we currently are, as the Wish Field is part of it. It didn't used to be, but it was later on, I guess, adopted by the Heartcraft Kingdom and is now a part of it while still being its own region at the same time. If we go by trailer order, after that it would be the Linglong Empire, then the Empire of Light, then the Star Hell Federation, the Terra Alliance, the Twin Moon Kingdom, and finally the Whale Port. Now you could argue that we go to the Ling Lung Empire before we go into bigger parts of the Heartcraft Kingdom, because in version 1.2 we did already meet people from the Ling Lung Empire, which would make a lot of sense, and I agree with that. But there's also another thing. In version 1.2, we also found out that people from the Ling Lung Empire have to travel to the Heartcraft Kingdom, or at least to the Wish Field, by boat. That suggests that there is a huge ocean, probably in the middle of a lot of these regions, and it would probably make a lot more sense if we went around and then went to the Ling Lung Empire that way, which means that probably right outside, south of the Wish Field, is the capital or the big area or whatever of the Heartcraft Kingdom, and if you venture a bit more southeast, then you'll land in the Ling Lung Empire, which will bring everything back in perfect order. Of course, by that logic, we could also travel by sea to the Ling Lung Empire in 2.0, and then go all the way back to the capital of the Heartcraft Kingdom in 3.0, but I feel like the trailer insinuates more that we stay in the Heartcraft Kingdom for more, but that could just be me. So now that we established that, the big question is, what do we do in the next 6 months that will lead up to that big version? If we go by the 1 month rule equals 1 version, then we have 5 more versions before 2.0, as version 2.0 is the 6th version, which will bring us up to version 1.10. Yes, it sounds a bit weird, especially if you played a lot of other open world gacha games like this, but this is probably where we'll end up, unless they plan on extending patches, but I don't want to get into that. I feel like that would mess up the timeline a lot. I'm going to stay with 1 month equals 1 patch. Now, I'm going to take a really wild guess here and say that version 1.10 is probably going to be some sort of preparation update for version 2.0. I don't really know how that's going to look, but either way, no matter where we go first, either the Heartcraft Kingdom, the Ling Lung Empire, or somewhere else entirely, is probably going to be a big hint and preparation for that update. Now, something that we do know though is that one of the other updates that we now have left, which is 4, has to occupy the housing update. And that is for 2 simple reasons. First of all, we have been waiting for this feature ever since it was teased in the trailer that we got before this game even released, which has been even longer than 6 months. Aside that, we have exactly 1 missing node in the Heart of Infinity that hasn't been occupied yet, and that one is definitely for housing, considering that housing was meant to release a lot sooner, as we've had patch notes that it just isn't ready yet. It would be weird if we went into version 2.0 with again a new Heart of Infinity shard, and then we have to revisit the old shard yet again for an update that is finally ready. It just seems a bit weird to leave something open like that for so long, and I would rather they just complete it, which is definitely something that they are working on. A dev note that we've got in version 1.4 has pointed out that the housing update does need a bit more time, so I'm going to say it's probably not going to land on 1.6. If it does, then I'm really happy about that, but considering that they have their hands full with version 1.5, I simply don't think, even if there is a different team working on version 1.6, that it's going to release yet. I feel like it is going to go a lot more towards the end of this big version. So if we go with that, then we know that there are only 3 patches left to be occupied, and that is 1.7 up until 1.9. Going back to 1.6, I'm going to say it's probably going to be a filler update that will enhance co-op and other recent features a bit more and bring us a fun theme, kind of like the other patches did in the past. Another patch that we maybe can expect is a summer celebration event. A lot of gacha games do this, and we know that in Asian games, they usually celebrate the summer between June and August. That falls perfectly in line with version 1.7, 1.8, and 1.9, so one of these 3 updates might have a summer event if we are going to get one. I am also going to be extremely daring here and say that the summer update might be a teaser update for the housing update that we will get after that, kind of like the bulkhead event was for the dying feature. Of course, the teaser update for the housing update could be a completely different one, but I feel like a summer update would be the perfect chance because when you have summer, you go to a summer house. And a summer house is the perfect place for decorating. It would be the perfect time to beta test, or quote-unquote beta test, this feature in the game for all players and then put it out 1 or 2 versions after that. Again, kind of like they did with the bulkhead event. The quote-unquote issue with this theory is that if we do get the chance to decorate a summer house, it will probably be more of a limited event, kind of like dying the bulkhead was, meaning that it will be just like the Golden Apple Archipelago from Genshin Impact that will only reappear in new forms, which does make me a bit sad because I loved the first Golden Apple Archipelago. But if that's the case, then that's what it is. And if we do get the chance to decorate a house, then I'll be really happy. But considering that recent event maps have not been time limited, I could be wrong. Again, I am just making theories here. We could have a version in between these two, which could change the lineup later on, switching 2 versions, but that's whatever. We don't have to get into that. Again, I'm going to make one very specific lineup here, so a few things can be switched around. Don't take my lineup too seriously because there are a lot of things to take into consideration. I am very well aware. So, if we go with this, I will be placing the summer update in version 1.7 because that falls in the middle of summer in July. That would move the housing update to either version 1.8 or 1.9, which would still be before 2.0, and then one of these 2 leftover updates will be another filler. Now, with all of these possibilities and considerations taken care of, here is my full timeline prediction. Again, take it with a grain of salt. I don't know what I'm talking about most of the time. We don't know what we are waiting for. We don't have any idea about the roadmap. This is just what in my head I think it might be happening, but again, I could be absolutely wrong. Version 1.6 will be a filler update, mainly featuring optimizations to co-op and other new features we've got in version 1.5. 1.7 will be the summer update with possible housing update teasers in it. Version 1.8 will be the housing update itself. 1.9 will be another filler, probably optimizing the past update a bit more. And then 1.10 will be a preparation update for the next big map edition, and that will be 2.0, where we will probably go to the Heartcraft Kingdom. Again, take all of this with a grain of salt. I am just making guesses here. Considering this will be the first big map addition to the game, we don't have any idea how the overall roadmap plan is, so we'll just have to get surprised altogether. But do let me know what you think in the comment section. I am extremely curious to see what you guys think the roadmap plans may be, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good day, everybody. Bye bye.